Live from Burbank, California, once again it is time for the World Championship Series for StarCraft II for Season 1 of 2015. Yesterday we had Group A and 2 players advanced to the round of 16. Today, very much the same story and still the same type of competition. We've got a wonderful select group of 32 players here to battle it out for a chance to call themselves the 2015 champions. Who will rise and who will fall? We'll begin today with Group B with Kelazhur, TLO, Polt, and Jim. Now, once again, for anybody tuning in today for the first time this year, we have a little bit of a different WCS system, as you notice on your screen. We have 32 players represented from all points of the globe, from China, from Oceania, from Latin America, Europe, and North America. It's going to be a really fun time, and, well, specifically because we have some really cool players coming in today, especially Kelazhur, our first Brazilian in WCS. Of course, we have Polt, Captain America, Jim, the #1 ranked player in China, and TLO, always the fan favorite, and always waiting on the verge of breaking out. Will today be his day? We'll find out. But first, I want to hear a little bit more from Sean Apollo Clark.
Group B is going to be a tight one. There's only one player that stands above the rest, and that's Polt. The other 3 are going to have to work their socks off. Kelazhur is no doubt the outsider of this group. He'll need some WCS magic to overcome his accomplished opponents.
Now Kelazhur completely in position and prime position to move on.
This is a tight group. Any 3 players can make it through the top 2. There's one outsider who's going to need some upsets.
Upsets he'll have to do, but TLO is looking sharp as ever. And yesterday, his teammate Snoot qualified, and today he's looking to do the same thing. Our first match of the day will be TLO versus Kelazhur, and that's going to be casted by none other than Nathanias and Rotterdam. Boys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dan. We are incredibly excited for Group B as we see some faces that we have never seen before in WCS Premier League, whether it was Europe or America. Nate, it doesn't matter. We've never seen Kelazhur on this stage. Of course, a long time ago we did see him at the Intel Extreme Masters Sao Paulo. That's where I had my first interaction with him, and that's a funny one, but I'll save that for...
I've heard the story once or twice.
It's a good one, right? It's a good story.
It's okay.
It gives him some personality.
Yeah.
Makes me... We'll save the story for a little bit later. It's not that exciting. Now I'm blowing up the story, Nate. You're putting too much pressure.
You've already overhyped it, man. Great job.
Okay, I'm just going to never talk about this again. But welcome, guys, to the second WCS broadcast of this season. We had a great day yesterday where the favorites, I would say, did advance, at least, you know, in my book.
I mean, the statistical favorites definitely advanced. I think maybe some people were having a little bit of hope for our underdog players. I think a lot of Europeans that stayed up to watch you Thermal get out, you know, your fellow Dutchies were maybe a little bit disappointed, but it was still a pretty good couple shots by him.
No, definitely. I mean, Snoot came in that group as the massive favorite, and he delivered. Like, he was flawless pretty much throughout the second series. The first series was a little bit more sloppy, but he still delivered to the hype. Let's see if Polt, the obvious favorite for today, can do the same thing as Snoot did yesterday. It's going to be a fun group, Nate. We're going to start things off with Kelazhur versus TLO, a match that has never happened. Perhaps they've ran into each other on ladder once or twice, but in official StarCraft II, these 2 players have never played against each other, and I think that's one of the most beautiful things about the Premier League setup that we have going for this year.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. We have the first time ever in Premier League, Kelazhur going through the Latin America qualifiers, taking out Cats to get here, and, you know, no small feat in that by any means. Basically, his first time playing on this stage. As you said, he's competed in some of the Intel Extreme Masters events, but for the most part, he doesn't have anywhere near as much experience as TLO.
Nope. He came through the WCS Latin America qualifiers, and that is not an easy qualifier, by the way. Of course, you know, if people compare it to the Korean qualifiers or even the European ones, they'll say like, oh man, there's so many Europeans that would have made it through the qualifier. That may be true, but don't think that he beat a bunch of Diamond League players together. It's like, no, there were multiple GM players that were competing in that qualifier. He came through it at his second attempt, and then he had to go up against Cats in his challenger match. I think on paper, a match that Cats was a slight favorite in, even though, you know, the North Americans knew that Kelazhur was strong. I don't think many people called a 3-0 victory for Kelazhur in that one.
No, Cats put a lot of preparation to that, and it was definitely an upset for sure, especially with how hard he won it. And then, of course, there's TLO, who's been in Premier League quite a few times. This is his 7th time making it to Premier League since WCS began. Took out Rhett, his teammate, the team kill in the qualifier to actually get here. He's looking to keep that you know, that Team Liquid pride going through here, as there's quite a few of them that were going through WCS, actually.
Definitely. Dr. Dario, a man that always believes in his own skill, a man that always works hard, and of course well known for his creativity. Yes, guys, we are going to go there today. It should be really fun. I think TLO looks at this group and thinks this could have been so much worse. I should be making it out of this group, because he's a player that, you know, expects a lot of himself, and he definitely expects himself to advance. But he's going to have to start here in this first best of 3 of the day, where he will go up against this man, spawning in the right top side of the map, hailing from Brazil, but currently living in Florida. It is Kelazhur.
Excited, Kev. First time I think I'll even be casting this guy's games. His opponent in the southwest position, coming from Germany, representing Team Liquid, he is TLO. There's some fierce cheering from the crowd here today for TLO. Some big fans.
Everywhere he goes, there's always a fan of his creativity, Nate. The creative people in life, they get rewarded for the beautiful things they contribute to this world.
I don't have a follow-up to that. You put it so poetically, Roddy.
Sometimes we say it best when we say nothing at all, Nate.
Amen, Kev.
But let's say something during this best of 3, though, otherwise it will get really awkward.
I mean, just for starters, we have once again, unsurprisingly, ended up on Overgrowth. This map's been around for about as long as any of the other ones, bit more since, what was it? They brought this one in for season 2 of WCS last year. It's a map that many players are comfortable on because they have a lot of experience on it. It's a small map, but the way that it's set up, it's actually not that difficult for Zerg to hold on to 4th bases once they get there. Because of that, we've seen, on this map more so than others, a lot of these very fast Hellbat pushes, very popular on this map. So far, Kelazhur not doing anything too crazy. We're not getting the Maru proxy racks. It's going to be a pretty standard Reaper opening from the looks of it.
Yeah, of course, you know, Overgrowth is kind of the map that most people will be okay with. It's not even that all of the players are huge fans of Overgrowth, but it's just kind of like, I don't hate Overgrowth enough to veto it. My opponent doesn't hate it enough to veto it, so there's a very big chance we will pretty much always see this map, or not always, but in the majority of the best of 3s that we are going to see in Premier League this season, I think this will be the most frequent map that we are going to see. So far, we see an SCV scout making his way across the map for Kelazhur. He's going to see that everything is relatively standard on the other side of the map as this hatch is about to finish up. He's going to see this spawning pool if he wants to go all the way, but he doesn't. But I mean, then again, TLO is not really the type of Zerg that you expect to open up gasless on Overgrowth.
No. TLO, for Zerg players especially, like I said, that 4th base is very... I'm not going to say like it's easy to defend, but it's so much easier than other maps like Catalina, where Terran basically just runs free all day because you have that very small alleyway in the corner of the map, but basically the alley of death, where many Terrans lose games trying to push into that 4th, but the choke point is so tight you get wrecked. So at this point, Kelazhur will want to do something to get an early lead, I imagine, because this is going to be the most comfortable map TLO will play on in this series. And as the Reaper comes in, just doing a bit of poking and prodding. Any lings he picks up are nice. I don't expect TLO to do some sort of big all-in, so he just wants the lings for defense at this stage.
Yep. Now, what do we know from Kelazhur? Of course, like I've said, we know that he defeated Cats 3-0 in his WCS Challenger match. That is an amazing result. And just the other week, he played in an NA show match series.
He caught that Reaper.
Wow.
He barely caught that.
With the Queen from downtown?
Yeah, the Queen Ray Allen did, huh?
Oh, and at the same time, the 2 SCVs pick up that SCV, or the 2 Zerglings pick up that SCV that was building the command center. So actually a very nice start here for TLO. Those are 2 victories that you're normally not supposed to get in this phase of the game. Not the end of the world for Kelazhur, but definitely a little bit sloppy. Perhaps Nerf getting the upper hand so far.
Yeah, definitely. You're up against someone with so much notoriety behind their name. It could be very nerve-wracking. These Zerglings get on top of the Marines, start setting deck. He's actually going to kill all of the Marines. So most of the time, if you're going for any type of early push as Terran, those early Marines, like, yeah, they're for defense, but they actually become a very important part of your aggression. And now TLO goes up the ramp, he sees the starport, he can force SCVs to come repair this depot. He knows absolutely everything. Even sees that there's no tech lab. So it's like, okay, it has to be some sort of drop opening or just a very quick Viking. I'm not going to have to worry about Banshees. I don't need to get a Spore Crawler that fast.
Oh man, these 2 Zerglings are still alive. The Hellions are not out yet, so there's a chance that he might get
from
one.
TLO, make 2 lings at 5 hit points, kill an SCV.
Well, he actually got so much done. He killed the Reaper, and he killed 3 SCVs with just his first initial Zerglings, and he saw the opening that he's up against. This is an absolute dream opening so far for TLO. And we all know, if you play a big series, you know, you're always a little bit nervous in the start of it. You want to make sure that you won't get surprised. Well, so far, TLO can be extremely satisfied. Oh, that's a nice, cute little repair. You saw that?
Yeah.
That repair saved the SCV.
Gave him the hug of life there. But this is what I was talking about as far as it becoming a problem. He loads up 2 Marines. That should be 8 Marines. His armory is getting close to finishing now. It should be done by the time that he's actually unloading and set up there. He'll do a little bit, maybe his next wave of Hellions is across the map. But those Marines are a very important backbone because they can do a much better job of killing the Queen, since the Queen damage output is not enough to actually kill Marines that are being healed.
And Kelazhur definitely relies on these aggressive builds. It's something he used 3 games in a row against Cats, and even in some of his games against Pick in the show match series that I was about to mention before he lost a few SUVs, he was opening up relatively aggressive as well. He's going to morph these Hellions into Hellbats, but with the Roaches already spawning 1 by 1, as long as TLO doesn't lose a ridiculous amount of workers over here, he should be fine. He should have plenty of Roaches on the way. There are 4 more in production. He might actually end up losing a few more drones than I thought he was going to lose at first. He's going to pull the drones. It's always a risky move against Hellbats. Oh my god, Nate.
Yeah, he's actually getting a really nice amount of damage done here.
Wow,
14 drones picked off so far. Keep in mind, no 3rd command center, so he does want to get a bit more work done here.
As well?
Yeah, they're delaying the injections as well. That hatchery, there's no additional lava being really produced on it, at least not at the rate that you need at this point in the game. So the Roaches come out, but he gets another hit off on a few of these drones.
Oh my god. Can you believe that? Well, we just saw 2 more Hellions are swinging in.
These drones are stacked up. Kelazhur actually getting
18 drones? 19?
This is a pretty critical blow that he's landed. And Kelazhur is not thinking about that long. I like the TLO's Overlord just chilling here. He's like, well, none of the units I made actually really shoot up at this point in the game. But he starts up Stim. He doesn't have a 3rd command center, like I said earlier. He's added on an engineering bay from the looks of it. So we're going to have we're going to have a 3-racks Stim push to follow this up. And he's also going to move into Banshees.
The first Banshee is already across the map, by the way, and that Banshee is going to find 2 or 3 drones that are about to hatch at this hatchery. Gets another drone kill, gets 1 more. Wow, TLO really falling apart here a little bit, despite having
21 workers picked off in the first 9.5 minutes.
Yeah, and not just that, he had a phenomenal opening. He knew that this was coming pretty much. He saw everything that he had to know. These Roaches could definitely be very frustrating, but if he repairs that bunker in time...
Yeah, he's got a Marauder in there. Just needs to hang tight.
The safety Marauder, the Bolt Marauder. Bolt's in the building as well.
He also has his Banshee that just finished, so these Roaches will do nothing. Get completely swatted down, and Kelazhur taking a pretty dominant stance. He starts a very late 3rd command center, but with TLO playing for Roaches,
this is a massacre.
He doesn't have too much to worry about.
26 drones have gone down. Even this Banshee got 7 more workers. Eventually the Banshee will die, but you'll gladly lose your Banshee for 7 drones. That's pretty much the reason why you make it.
Keep in mind, it has seen everything. He knows, okay, you go there, Roach Warren, you didn't see a Baneling nest, and you don't see a Baneling nest, and you only see Roaches. That means one thing, and it's just get a good couple of Marines out, and you're going to be able to drop all day, because Mutalisks are not coming anytime soon.
And the funny thing is that TLO actually added his Roach Warren relatively early in this game. It's not that the Roach Warren was late, he just didn't have the Roaches.
Yeah, he wanted to play with Roaches to defend against the Hellbat push.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. Man, this mineral line is still completely exposed.
And the Creep Tumor's not fully connected this yet, so even these Queens are going to have to do a little bit of waddling before they can get over here.
And I don't really understand this, because he saw that 2nd Banshee with his Roaches as well. TLO making a couple of questionable decisions so far, and Kelazhur taking full advantage of it, getting 6 more drones. How often do you see an 11-minute game where 32 workers have gone down? It's not even over yet. We're not done. This is not even his final form, Nate.
No, this Banshee still flying around. Queens attempting to reposition themselves, but is still just making these neat little niches. So finally that Banshee gets killed, but 34 workers killed. Kelazhur's 3rd orbital is about to finish morphing. And he's actually going to set up quite nicely now with his 4th and 5th barracks completing.
But I think the first real attack from Kelazhur, that's just where the party starts. Because how is TLO going to deal with a stimmed bio army after taking so much economic damage? I don't think he even started Baneling speed yet, did he? No, he didn't start Baneling speed, and obviously he's not very rich, so I highly doubt that he's going to start it right now.
Yeah, he has a Spire on the way that might not even be a part of this game.
I like this as well. It's just like, you know, we can walk across the map, but why don't we just pick up everything? Because my army is so much stronger than your army now anyway, so I just want to be...
It's like, well, I know you have mutas.
Yeah.
let's take the fast lane.
I want to be on the other side of the map as soon as possible. There are a few roaches over here, but there are plenty of marauders in the mix. These few creep doomers will buy a little bit of time, but army supply, it's 46 against 36, and this 46 army supply is actually stronger.
With
it's
this
more
many
DPS.
Marauders and so few Banelings, Kelazhur also doing a nice job of focus firing down the first Baneling. Like, you kill those Banelings, the rest of his army just falls apart.
As long as he right-clicks on these Banelings, he should be more than fine. I think this can almost be game-ending damage, because Baneling speed is not even halfway done yet. Good transfuse there by TLO. TLO doing a good job in buying some time for himself and allowing extra units to arrive. Kelazhur doesn't know yet about that fourth hatchery in the right bottom side of the map. That should be an absolute free pickoff.
Kind of reminds me of Uthermal versus Snoot yesterday, where he put this big push on it. It's not, he hasn't committed quite as much as Uthermal did. He's in a much better position than he was, but that fourth base, if left unchecked, you know, this is one of those maps where it's much easier to hold on to that than others.
I do really like that TLO went for that base, because he kind of needs something to really bring him back into this game after losing a ridiculous amount of drones. Kelazhur, of course, his aggression did not fail there by any means. He kept the majority of his units alive. This counterattack won't achieve anything either. Not a single mule went down. Kelazhur's economy is just balling.
Yeah, he's balling.
You can actually go for the Baneling nest, and Baneling speed is not ready yet. Well, it will finish.
Okay, yeah, that's going to finish up, but still, not being able to make Banelings is another problem altogether, as it dies without him morphing any. So he only has 4 Banelings on the map. That means he has a whole minute before he can even start Banelings, and then 17 seconds to actually morph new ones.
And I love what we see from Kelazhur. On the other side of the map, immediately we see this Terran army moving out, and this is a pretty damn intimidating army.
You kill a Baneling nest, and you have Blue Flame about to finish up for your Hellbats that you're mixing into your army. So you've got Roachling versus what is mostly Marine Marauder Hellbat. You're gonna wreck the Zerg.
I love how Kelazhur has been dropping the units out of low HP Medivacs as well and picking them up in high HP Medivacs. It's the second time he did this game. It's the small things, but you know, you don't want to fly. Okay, he throws down a scan, by the way, in the right bottom side of this map, and now he saw there is a fourth base, so he's like, all right, I can try to go the hard way, over creep, or I can just start fighting at the area where there isn't too much creep, and I should be fine.
Yeah, at this point, whether or not he fights on creep isn't even too much of an issue, because there's not a lot of Banelings. Like, unless those 4 Banelings somehow hit every single unit, which doesn't seem possible at this point, Kev, because his pre-splitting is not too bad.
Nope, not at all.
He's going to be able to just roll right through this. The Marauders are up front soaking up a ton of damage. Now the Banelings are gone, and the Marines, man, you just stand, attack, move forward.
There are 11 more Banelings on the map, and they're rolling in from the side. I don't think Kelazhur expected these Banelings. The tank did not get the shots off that you're wishing for, and Dario is actually doing a phenomenal job so far in hanging in there. These roaches are doing much better than I expected them to do, and Kelazhur is being pushed back for now. Yeah. It is definitely worth mentioning that 2-2 was not ready for that fight. +2 attack just finished up a few seconds ago, and now +2 armor is finishing up.
I will say he did a good job of focusing down the Mutalisks with the Marines that he had in that engagement. He's picked off 6 of them so far. TLO not able to get a very high count out. He's just finished a few more, going back up to 9. And there's a Thor mixed into this army too, so those mutas are not going to have too much of an impact, I feel, in the rest of these fights.
I like how TLO keeps his Mutalisk right now in his main. He's aware of the fact that, like, man, if he starts dropping me now...
He knows he doesn't have enough to be aggressive with them, so he's like, just defend, defend, defend. I need more time. Need to get that 4th base situated.
These good Zergs, man. They smell Medivacs.
Yeah, flying in the wrong direction. But if those Marines unload, then they wreck those mutas.
It's a different fight when they're actually on the ground. Man with gun is always intimidating.
Amen, Kev. 3-3 starts up for Kelazhur. +2 Carapace has actually only just started for TLO.
I kind of wonder why Kelazhur doesn't go via the low ground on the right side of the map, where the fourth base is. I think that would
he wants to fight in a more open area. Like, there's a reason why that's like in this matchup. That's basically like the hallway of death. But you could try.
But do you rather fight off creep in a choke point or on creep in an open area?
Without Widow Mines, it's really tricky because there's no way to get big detonations in that choke. You can only spread out, and your space to spread is very limited in that hall.
I mean, Kelazhur is getting 3-3. His 4th base is on location. TLO is going to try to engage his army. Most of the Banelings actually connecting with a single Hellbat there. That's not how you want to use your Banelings. This was a great fight for Kelazhur, and now I think he's really going to be able to push the issue. At the same time, he's still dropping in the main. He's forcing Dario to keep a few units in his main base.
Yeah, and that Thor is just going to town on the mutas. Marines and Marauders cleaning everything up. Kelazhur taking a 40 supply lead as he continues to press in towards the 4th base. Reinforcements coming out. Queen not going to cut it, and these Hellbats soaking up an incredible amount of damage. GG, Kelazhur takes game number 1. Our Brazilian Terran takes his first map in his first match in WCS Premier.
And this will feel twice as good after that very, very rocky opening that he had. Losing the Reaper against the Queen.
I'd actually completely forgotten about that, man. That's if you're playing as a Terran player, you're like, oh man, Overgrowth, like this map's really good for Zerg against me. And then You lose the SCVs, your command center's delayed, you're like, I lost my Reaper. You're like, oh man, everything's falling apart.
But this is truly where everything went Kelazhur his way. Like the Roach One was done for a while. Look at the production tab. Despite the Roach One being done, there were still 5 more drones on the way. And those drones, they should have been Roaches. If those are Roaches, I think TLO doesn't end up losing more than, you know, 5, 6 drones over here. Instead, he ended up losing 19 drones. And then the Banshee came, and the second Banshee came, and instead of looking at like 5 or 6 drones, we're looking at 26 drones. And, well, kind of changes the dynamic of this game.
Yeah, that had a really, really big impact. TLO's way of handling this, despite being able to get a good read on the opening.
Cute plays as well. Look at that Medivac micro. He picked up the helmet like 4 times. Like, damn.
Yeah. When you do these builds this often, Kev, you start to figure out some very interesting ways to make it work.
I know, Nate. Like, I know you have your weaknesses when it comes to 4-base macro, but you and mine.
Oh man, you give me 6 Marines, a Medivac, and a Widow Mine.
Every now and
dirty
then,
things to you.
Every now and then I tune into Twitch and I was like, man, I didn't know Maru was streaming so much. But then I realized it's you, Nate.
Aw.
That mind control.
I don't know if I can accept that one. You're gonna upset a lot of people with that compliment, Kev.
I'm kidding. Anyway, map number 2 is going to be played on Catalina, and will Kelazhur be able to complete the first upset of the day? Despite the fact that we know that he's a strong player, especially the North Americans know that. Yeah, you know, he might not be known in the European scene, but we know that he's damn good at this game called StarCraft II. But Dario is a favorite going into this series. The TLO representing Team Liquid. He has so much experience. He's been all around the world. He's been around the scene forever. And he definitely expects himself to take this series as well.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting moving on to Catalina. Definitely a Terran favored map for the Blue Zerg player, TLO.
And over here on the right bottom side of the map, we have our red Terran hailing from Brazil, currently living in Florida. It is Kelazhur. And you know what also surprises me, Nate? The fact that not only that the Hellbats did so much damage after the way that that game opened up, but just the fact that these Hellbats did so much damage, period. Because TLO is a player that always does research. Like we were talking to him in the morning as well, and he always goes over games of his opponents before he knows that he's going to play a certain guy. He will try to watch at least 5 games, but if more. And he should know that Kelazhur is the type of Terran that loves to open up with Hellbats. That's all he did against Cats, like all these aggressive openings. So after an opening like that, and even scouting it, and then it's still doing so much damage, that kind of baffles me.
Yeah, I think it comes down to TLO probably feeling the same way that we did and recognizing that he had done a lot of damage early on, maybe not expecting Kelazhur to be able to hit him so hard in the first place. So he's like, okay, didn't rush out, he didn't build the Roaches as soon as the Roach Warren was done. He didn't have everything out maybe as fast as he could have, but it obviously came back to bite him, and it seems like he's done a bit of research, of course. Most Zerg players on this map, Catalina, you're talking about, this is a great Terran map. And, you know, as a Protoss, you don't like to play too much against Terran on it. Zergs definitely don't, because these Reaper builds are very, very frustrating to deal with. And TLO, you know, one of those guys that not necessarily known for being cheesy, but even he's going to open up with this pool first because he does not want those Reapers to become a nuisance. Kelazhur built his barracks at 11 supply. He cut an SCV to get the Reaper out earlier, so he's definitely looking to put some pressure on.
Yep, but TLO will be able to deal with it. Shouldn't lose more than a couple Zerglings. If he loses a drone, I think Kelazhur will already be very happy, and TLO will be sad.
If you don't go hatch first and you lose the drone to a Reaper, you're not happy. No.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time, though, if I play Zerg. But there is a reason why my Zerg is in Diamond League, Nate.
Well, I won't even go into the dark depths. This is my Zerg rank, Kev, so you got me beat there.
There's no extractor, yeah. Do you think he's going to stay gasless for a little while longer? And do you think that Kelazhur is going to open up with 3 Reapers because he sees the fact there is no extractor?
So if this was the two barracks opening that we saw out of Euthermal yesterday, I think you're actually in a really good spot versus what TLO is doing, because he's going to only be able to defend with Queens. He won't have Speedlings. But against just 3 Reapers, which you're going to most likely see out of this opening, don't lose the drone. Once you get your Queens out, you should be able to zone away. Okay. You can afford to lose a Ling or 2, though, because you won't get speed.
And he's probably going to produce Queens non-stop, because his speed is going to be so like, man, this Reaper sneaking in from behind. Metal Gear Solid. Solid Snake, the Reaper.
Yeah.
You saw that?
I didn't realize they added cardboard boxes to this game, Kev. He's very, very good at getting around.
And now his body Splinter Cell's joining him. For the first time ever, Nate. The 2 secret agents in the same game.
Wow.
That's good. That should be a good game.
There's a lot of you're diving into a lot of like alternate universes here.
Oh, he picks up the creep tumor.
Yeah, trying to connect the bases against Reapers like this is very, very important. The 3rd Reaper should be able to pick these things off to turn around, Kelazhur.
This is when you hope that your SCV moves.
Yeah, Yeah.
Man,
wow.
but he's still getting drones as well. These Reapers have... Okay, this Reaper will probably fall, though. If this Reaper still escapes, Nate, I think TLO is going to be very mad.
The greased pig slides? Okay, he doesn't get out. Well, so at this point, he did lose... Like, you lost 2 Reapers for 2 drones. Okay. I think TLO definitely got the better end of this opening.
He also got that SCV. Let's not forget about the SCV.
Yeah, the SCV, he killed the scouting SCV as well, so both players have killed 2 workers. And I think if Kelazhur does all of this and keeps the 3 Reapers alive, then it's obviously a much better position because he can do further damage later on and also be able to scout. But
there's another command center going up in the main base as well, Nate. Talk to me about this, because I always think this is a smart move from Terrence, especially after being so aggressive in game number 1.
Well, what's interesting to me is that he's still going to get the starport behind all of this. So he's not ruling out the possibility of aggression. He's just not expecting TLO to get aggressive versus him, because if TLO had opened up with gas, which was one of the things that the Reaper was able to scout, he did not do, then Kelazhur has to worry about a potential for a speedling counterattack, which would need a wall for, which would delay the command center, because you can't actually block it off on this map, or like a baneling or roach bust of some kind.
For a second I thought he was going to get one more drone.
That would have been the dream.
It's a good Overlord scout over here by TLO. He's going to see orbital command or command center number 3 being built and about to go.
But TLO
finish
can't
up.
really punish this without basically starting to build roaches now and going all in, which shouldn't work at this point.
But it gives you a little bit of, you know, a few extra drone cycles that normally you would be perhaps hesitant to make. Now you're like, all right.
Yeah.
I know what's happening over here.
What's smart is that
cool.
he moved the starport onto the tech lab and
That's so
started
cool.
a Viking, because TLO might just build some Spore Crawlers now. He saw the Banshees in the last map. No, not too crazy. There are a lot of Terran players that will open with Banshees multiple games in a row because they are that good.
I think it's time to bring the hashtag mind games back into the scene, Nate.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
These are the hashtag mind games.
Well, he sees the Viking pop out and Cloak not being researched, so...
Yeah, look at him. He's even forcing out a couple Spore. Okay, now I think he might even cancel his Spores. Because he was building Spores. 4 Hellions and the Reaper. Man, that Reaper jumps behind the Queen, trapping the Queen, but there is a Roach or 2.
Yeah. I mean, Hellions, that was like a cool play,
Yeah.
but it's like 4 Hellions and a Reaper aren't going to kill a Queen that fast. It's
That's
like,
still
they're
really
good,
cute, though.
they're not that good. Important note that Kelazhur has been able to, see that TLO is still on just 2 bases. He's not moving to take a 3rd, so things he has to worry about, and I think could be a very real possibility, is just a big push once this Carapace and Roach speed finishes.
This is very nice. TLO was able to sneak out a drone and he expands towards, well, basically in front of his main, the 9 o'clock position in the middle of the map. Normally it would be very frustrating to get a drone in position when there are 4 Hellions and a Reaper camping the natural, but they just moved up north and that was TLO's call to move the drone out.
I was going to say, if you force him to stay on 2 bases for a while, then you're going to force out a lot more Roaches than you normally would. One Roach does poke the front, kills an SCV. There's a Marauder here.
I'm surprised that he let both Spore Crawlers finish in both mineral lines, despite, he saw the Viking pop.
Unless he did not want to take any chances, I guess.
Unless he was worried about Viking into Cloak Banshee. Double hashtag mind games.
He just didn't want that Viking to park over his mineral line, killing all his Overlords. Like, man, my Queens can't shoot up for some reason. He built a Raven out of that, though, which is very interesting. Usually once Mutalisks are out on the map, but I guess if you open Roaches, a Raven's kind of useful, because the Raven Hellion will outmaneuver the Roaches, and then you can use it to clean up creep.
That drone was, or that Roach was staying alive, and the Reaper did get picked off. Of course, not really an important unit to keep alive anymore. Kelazhur just trying to keep TLO in place, trying to pick off any creep tumors that are morphing, but nothing is morphing. He will see there is no 4th hatchery going up, which would be a little crazy. But then again, if there's anyone creative enough to go up to 4 bases right now, it has to be TLO.
Yeah, definitely can't disagree with you there, Kev. He's getting Overlord speed as well, so he can maneuver them a little bit once the Viking is taken care of as well.
What's up with this Overlord dropping creep in the bottom side of the map? I want to know the story behind this guy. What's his story?
I think he wants to block the 3rd base. He was like, he probably just clicked on the mini-map and just missed a little bit.
A little bit, Nate.
I mean, maybe he just wanted to have creep there. It's like his spot. He's like,
that's the way the Roaches
it's like,
accelerate.
keep the camera on this side. It look better this way. It's like the creep looks better here on the map.
No, that's like the accelerate. You know when you play Mario Kart and you go over that speed boost?
That's
It's
a
like,
speed boost. Like, it's not really on anything important. It's just kind of near something important.
and that's what the Roaches get. It will be the launch pad of the Roaches.
Yeah. This Vikings picked off 2 Overlords so far, and it's still a sad feeling whenever you open with the Viking and it's across the map, and then you go to float your 3rd and this creep's blocking it. But he was taking the other 3rd anyway. There's a Roach there.
So the Spire is halfway done and the Baneling Nest is going down now. So right now, these Tim Marines, if actually no Overlord or no Roach finds it, there is a Roach over here that's very close to spotting these Metavacs, but it's at the bottom of the hill and it can't look up. This is where the Roach needs the binoculars upgrade, but he doesn't have it. So this drop, Nate, could actually do a little bit of damage. There are a few Zerglings in the main and Roaches, but Stimmed Bio, it's pretty fierce.
Yeah, this is where the lack of that Spire, it makes things really, really tricky. It's not like the latest Spire, but generally it's not the fastest one that he could have gotten. So
on the low
these
ground.
medevacs really, really annoying. And yeah, no banelings especially. Like these Marines, you can just go to town.
TLO is counterattacking during all this, which is cute enough, but he really has to worry at home that he doesn't end up losing too many drones. And he is losing quite a few drones right now to this drop. And at the same time, I don't think he's going to be able to do too much damage on the other side. I really love the way that Kelazhur is doing this. He's like using the terrain of Catalina to its full advantage. And this is why we always say that this is a good Terran map. This is a nightmare, man. You need Mutalisk for this.
Yeah, the Spire finished, and he's just cranking out roaches.
This is so cool.
Starts one Mutalisk, not quite enough to patch this hole up.
7 drones in this phase in the game. I think that's pretty massive.
It's not bad. It's 58 versus 57 with mules. That's a significant income advantage for Kelazhur now that he's situated himself on his third base.
And reinforcements are marching across the map. There's a Raven in the mix as well, which could be annoying. TLO has a lot of roaches that are stuck in the mid now. He's still worried about drops. TLO, you need these roaches on the low ground. We have Mutalisk on the way. Do we have any banelings? Still 0 banelings. We do have 30 roaches though. 30 roaches is quite a few roaches.
Like these auto turrets spread out. He can try to split his units behind them, mess with the positioning of any units like the Zerglings or the roaches.
I think if he clicks on the hatchery now, he's going to be able to get it and then just pick up these units and get out of here. Instead, he's going to fight the roaches. I would really love to see him just take out the hatch.
Yeah, I mean, the roaches are reasonably well upgraded as the +2 Carapace upgrade is done, so those Marines have a hard time actually killing off the roaches.
I think that was a free hatch, though, if he wanted to.
I think at this point, he probably didn't realize how those roaches had the extra upgrade on them. You can be deceiving. That one more upgrade against Marines really, really helps.
Oh man, this is so frustrating for TLO. He just lost the only Mutalisk he had as well. He's morphing a few banelings, but baneling speed is nowhere near done yet. He's still trading a lot
really
of
great
units.
focus fire on the mutas. Even when the lings are all over him, he just picks them straight up.
This is Catalina, Nate. You should be so excited right now as a Terran, and all Zerg players should be like, this is why I open 2-base Muta, because Kelazhur just does not stop. He picks up the units, drops them, picks them up, drops them, and he keeps doing this.
This is the best way to play Terran on this map. In pretty much every matchup. You just don't stop, man.
Nope.
You turn it into pinball. You're just bouncing all over the place.
And Kelazhur is a fast Terran as well. For the people who wonder, you know, what APM does this guy play with? In general, around 250. So
yeah, he's at 250. Yeah, it's not bad.
Throws down a scan, sees the 4 hatchery going up as well. I think Kelazhur is very satisfied with the trades he has made in the last few minutes of this game. Like I said, these Widowmites, TLO should know because they shot at the cocoons.
Yeah. And those mines can end up coming back to bite them, though.
Why do my eggs have 3 HP, Nate?
Well, you know, eggs have 10 armor, so they're pretty hard to kill normally. It takes a pretty strong unit to do that to them.
Is there an overseer on the map? There's not a single overseer on the map. I think these Widowmites are going to shoot again. Actually, silly.
Well, I guess with a splash, you could kill 2 roaches, maybe?
One
of them is actually kind of weak. Nope. 1 roach? Oh, okay. Doesn't end up killing. I guess it could have cleared out some larvae.
Okay, so we have this drop going on the north side of the map, and TLO left a lot of units behind here. Kelazhur will end up losing the medevac, but that's not all that bad. If I was him, I'd just run away with these Marines, because this is the real army, and as long as TLO has units on the north side, he's not able to keep this hatchery alive. This time it will fall, and Kelazhur takes a demanding supply lead, 180 against 152. This is actually a really big surprise, Nate. I knew that Kelazhur was good, but so far he's sort of outplaying TLO, which is not something I think a whole lot of people have expected.
Yeah, it just kind of looks like this game, TLO basically can't handle all of Kelazhur right now. He loads up his army, the medevac's going to run away. There's not a crazy number of units to chase. Look, he actually leaves the Marauders and Hellbats behind to clean up whatever they can.
I'm not sure if that was the smartest, but he saves the Marines.
Yeah, you don't want to load the Hellbats first, but he's going to try to push through this army with just roaches and Mutalisks, with so many medevacs to heal, so many Marines behind this, and no banelings to challenge them. Kelazhur's just going to swat this down. GG taking the 2-0 is your Brazilian Terran in his first ever WCS appearance.
This actually gives me sort of a warm feeling inside. I can't believe that this has just happened. I really expect him to put up a good fight against TLO, but TLO having so much more experience and stuff.
I mean, let's be honest, Kev. We were kind of expecting it to be like, okay, he come in, he put up a good fight, his first time, nerves gets to him, but hard fought. But we kind of expected him to lose, and then. Well, that went the complete opposite way.
Nope, this just did not stop, and we've been talking about Catalina a lot in some of our previous casts, but the relentless aggression over here by Kelazhur, picking up these units, dropping them on the low grounds, like, you got no Mutalisk? That's cool, I can do this for days, Nate. Some people can dance for days, he can drop for days. Yeah,
it was a really, really well played, and also making sure to not rally everything across the map so we can defend against the counter-aggression. And TLO you can't handle this, man. There's too much. It was too fast, too quick, and was never able to get out Mutalisks in time to actually keep that from just bouncing around.
Did a really good job picking up drones whenever he could. Started focusing units as well whenever he could. Overall, just got good trades all around. And it's not like this was all he was doing. And then we look at the production tab because, you know, that's often what happens when the ordinary civilian tries to do these things. He's like, well, that drop was awesome, but now I have 1,400 minerals and no fort base.
Yeah.
But Kelazhur is doing all these things. He was upgrading even at +3 attack on the way in the end of this game. His macro never really slipped. Had solid production at home.
And both times, the openers, like, there wasn't, neither of these games started out incredibly well for Kelazhur. Game number 1, losing the SCVs, losing the Reaper. Game number 2, losing 2 Reapers, losing his SCV, building the command center again. Like, these are the kinds of things that you look at and you're like, okay, well, I expected this from someone, you know, coming to play from, you know, the American regions, but he still managed to really ramp it up once it got to that mid-game stage and took full advantage of the mistakes TLO made.
And you know the most bizarre thing? Kelazhur actually showed up at the studio yesterday, didn't bring his own mouse, didn't bring a keyboard. He's like, yo, where's the closest Best Buy? I need to buy a mouse. He's like, what? You didn't bring your mouse? Like, you know, like, Nate, I'm really picky. I can only play with my dirty mouse that I've had for 4 years. Anything else, I'm not touching, you know? And he just shows up and he's like, this mouse looks pretty good. I'll take it. And now he shows up.
So easy, apparently. I'm blown. I didn't realize the potential that we had.
Well, that is definitely a surprising first series of the day, but definitely a way to get the mood started. We've enjoyed it. Let's see what Dan the Man has to say about it.
I did not know the story about that mouse. It's very surprising, and you know what? Quite exhilarating to see the day start off with such a big upset. I was not really anticipating that series, did you?
You know what? Well, I had faith in Kelazhur, but he played really well. It was actually fantastic, so I didn't expect him to play that well. But yeah, it was really exciting to see him do that great, especially taking it 2-0.
Oh, I actually forgot to do the introductions. I was so taken aback by that series. So, Michael, please introduce yourself to the stream.
Yeah, hi, my name's Michael Novak, and I help out with ESL and a lot of their production. And yeah, it's just great, huge StarCraft fan.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, besides obviously how crazy that series was and how cool it is to see some of these players rise up, you know, defeating some of the fan favorites, but you came from a fan background and now you're working inside the esports industry. So can you talk a little bit about your journey of how you went from, you know, watching and spectating to now being one of the movers and shakers behind the scenes?
Yeah, so I mean, I was just a huge StarCraft fan, so I just went out and watched. I went to barcrafts, got involved in local events, and eventually actually was originally when a lot of the early crew members that were here were working with another crew. They needed help with a lot of the other productions, and just helping out with people in general just allowed people to kind of allow me to show off kind of my skills and just let me to meet and know people. So I just say get involved, go to local events, show up to the WCS studios. Like we have tons of people here, and just meet the people who help actually produce these shows.
Yeah, and you know, approaching the people directly as well, saying like, what can I do? It's not even just showing up and, you know, cheering for your favorite players. You know, going up and saying like, you know, is there anything I can help out? Or next time around, do you guys need volunteers? I feel like that's a great way to get, you know, not only just involved, but also to continue to contribute directly to the community growth. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Anything you're passionate in, just get involved. I mean, if you like bike riding, show up to biking marathons. You know, just meet the people who actually help put on those sorts of events.
I think you're talking to the wrong demographic here. We're sitting the day after Valentine's Day on President's Day weekend watching WCS with 10,000 of our best friends. But yeah, I know what you mean.
It's true. But if you love something, you know, spend Valentine's Day with it, right? That's what I did. I was here at the WCS studio.
Hey. True words have never been spoken. Well, Michael, you know, real quick, I want to get some of your thoughts on the rest of today. I know Group B didn't start off the way we anticipated, but, you know, Polt, Jim, 2 really strong players. I mean, everyone's expecting Polt to go through. Are you pulling for somebody here in second place? Do you think TLO is going to be able to bring it back? Or do you think Jim's going to be the one to advance? Or maybe Kelazhur is the one who's able to upset?
Yeah, this group is so brutal for me because we have Kelazhur, who's from Brazil, which, other than Major, there's really no South American representation. Like, we have Polt, who's basically, we call him Captain America. I mean, he's been a, you know, WCS and a competitor for every single season. He's been one of our top competitors, so, you know, he's someone I'm rooting for. And then we obviously have Jim, who's Chinese, and if we had some really strong Chinese representation, like we saw Zhigua, and who did well as well. So to see these Chinese players, it would be kind of interesting to see the Chinese representation maybe come out and try and get that sort of engagement. So it's really tough to see. And then obviously we have TLO, who's just been around the scene since the beginning. You know, he's one of our foreign competitors, one of our top foreign competitors with Kelazhur. So if I had to pick 2 favorites, I'm going to have to go with probably Polt, and I want to see Jim do well. I really do.
All right, well, Jim, I think he means a lot to our commentators, Nathaniel and Rotterdam as well. And he'll be coming up on stream after this match to face off against Polt, one of the most winning players in all of North American history when it comes to WCS. Before we go to break, we want to give a big shout out to Gigabyte and BenQ for making this all possible on this Valentine's Day weekend. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. Make sure to let us know. Hashtag WCS. We're just getting started. When we come back, we're going to have the second match of Group B here in the Premier League. Stay tuned.